Across the Park podcast is proud to be sponsored by Globe Gas and Heating. For the best kitchen and bathroom renovations, boiler servicing and repair, and central and underfloor heating in the Northwest, head over to globecentralheating.com and quote Across the Park for a free quote.
It was Christmas Eve and us dedicated podcasters are back again to preview Everton versus Manchester City, the big game, which is going to happen on the 27th, which is quite cool. It means we get Boxing Day off, or maybe uncool for some who like to go to the pub, smelling of Lynx Africa, and have their Boxing Day away from the kids. We're going to get into it. My name is Ian Mills from Across the Park podcast. Joined once again for this hat-trick appearance on the show. We're going to have to send you a sofferette because you're due one. It's your hat-trick. It's the JSGC Manchester City fan channel. Happy Christmas, mate. Thanks for joining us. How are you?
No problem. Happy Christmas to you. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. As you said, I think from the content side of things, I think we're pretty happy that we're not playing Boxing Day, that we get an extra day off and we get to go on the 27th. But the football traditionalist inside me thinks Saturday, 3 o'clock when this game should be. But swings and roundabouts. Yeah,
I think I'm used to it now. There's been that much fixture changes throughout the year with all the more TV deals happen. I think Amazon coming in has just changed it again. So it would be nice, I agree, 3 p.m. on Boxing Day, especially a local derby, if you will, where I imagine a lot of your fans would have made the train journey over and stuff on Boxing Day. But 27th, not bad, on the night at Goodison Park. And Goodison Park is, not sure whether you know, just said that next season will be the final season. So one of the last games under the lights at Goodison, really. So always special. I want to talk a little bit about... Go on, sorry.
I've just done my preview sorted this morning, and I've just gone through my little facts for the opposition and looking at Everton and looking at the ground and the fact that you've been at Goodison Park since 1892. So it's a very historic ground that it'll be a great shame for Everton to leave it, and for the fans it'll be very emotional. But I also think it's a bit of a blow to English football losing such a traditional historic ground. It's a sad day when we left Main Road. It'll be a very sad day for when you leave Goodison Park as well.
Yeah, and you guys have gone through that, haven't you? Where Main Road was such an emotional venue for you guys. I know City fans now who still talk about Main Road and they get emotional. It was such a big part of growing up. I think the area, it's a working class area. City, very similar to Everton, a very working class, fan base who work all week, go to the game, and it's part of their life. So, it's going to be tough. I don't live too far away from Goodison, so I drive past it going to work every day, and I dread the day I drive past it and it's not there. But
it's no longer home. Yeah, it will be a sad day. It'll be a very sad day.
Well, you're probably one of the big examples of moving successfully into such an amazing new ground and everything that comes with it. So you guys are probably the shining beacon of what can happen. So fingers crossed we don't Everton this up. But I do want to talk a little bit before we get into it about City. What we do in these podcasts, as you know, it's probably a lot of more Everton fans who are going to watch this and want to hear about City. What we hear about City is mainstream. We don't hear what the City fans think. So, on the naked eye, how the hell are Manchester City fifth?
1 win in 6 Premier League games. We can't seem to hold on to leads. There's I could sit here for the next 30 minutes and talk to you about things that have been potentially going wrong at Manchester City. If I want to do a little short summary, we win the treble on the June 10th, 2023. A lot of our fans, and I think it's started to filter through to the players as well, they've called it we've completed football, and we need to go above and beyond to find that motivation. City have taken the chance in the summer to let Riyad Mahrez, Emerick Laporte and Ilkay Gundogan, 3 fantastic world-class football players, leave the club and bring in some fresh new players. And when you bring any new player into a club, in particular if you're bringing them in from a foreign league, it takes time for them to adapt. And it just so happened that when we brought in the likes of Jeremy Doku and we've signed Mateus Nunes and Mateo Kovacic, 2 of them come from the Premier League, I'd expect them to really hit the ground running. And only recently, over the last 2 or 3 games, have we really started to see a little bit more from Kovacic and a little bit more from Nunes. That we've really felt that impact of not having someone like Ilkay Gundogan in our midfield, taking a Kevin De Bruyne injury as well at the beginning of the season. We've not seen him since. All of a sudden, you take away the heart of Manchester City's midfield, you take away the motivation side of things, and you're left with City just picking up the pieces. Now, I don't necessarily think we're playing too badly. We are scoring goals. We are managing to put ourselves into a winning position. The fact that we led 3 times against Chelsea away and dropped points in a 4-4 draw. We go into a match against Liverpool. We lead. We managed that game really well right up until the 80th minute. Liverpool did nothing in that game. Come forward, one Trent Alexander-Arnold shot to come away with a point. That point could be massive at the end of the season. We lead against Spurs as well. We drop more points. We led 2-0 against Crystal Palace a couple of weeks ago. We've dropped more points. Lost against Aston Villa as well. They just don't know how to hold on to a lead. And we're not managing the situation correctly. And we're lacking a little bit of leadership on the pitch as well. Because Gundogan was our captain last season. He's always been a big game player in the big moments. You need the big game players. Gundogan was that kind of player that did it for City. We haven't got that anymore, and we've not had the players stepping up to the plate. We pick up some poor results. The players' confidence and heads drop. The fans get onto the back, and I'm always going to back the team, but I've seen other City fans that have been out there that have really got onto the back of the players and said some things that I think just made things very frustrating enough that Kyle Walker's come out in public and said things about Manchester United that's not gone down well with the City fans by saying that their United's treble was better than City's. This is City's captain that's saying these things. Guardiola after the Liverpool game saying there's no atmosphere in the stadium. The fans aren't turning up. I think things have just been lost in translation because people always say it's the empty hat. There's empty seats everywhere. But over the last 2 years or so, it's become more and more difficult to get hold of tickets at Manchester City. Even our match against Huddersfield Town in the FA Cup, it's on the verge of a sellout. It's a game that a few years ago just wouldn't be close to a sellout. So the demand's there. The fans are turning up, yet they continue, the players and the coaches, to turn a blind eye to things. And there just seems to be a bit of a separation happening between the hardcore City fans and the club. And we're kind of morphing into what Manchester United and Liverpool have become, with the core support has been taken away from the club and being priced out, and you're replacing them with neutrals and tourists who are just here for the one game, and it's just not helping the atmosphere. It's not helping the club, and it's just kind of descending away from there. So things aren't perfect at City right now.
And that's strange, because when you won the Champions League, and I watched that on a Saturday evening, and I just thought, probably similar to what you just said there, I just thought they've clocked it. That's what a team. Like, am I watching the best team that I've ever watched? Arguably, yes. You know, I can understand my Arsenal fans and maybe some United fans would argue against that. But I don't know, from the outside looking in, one player you named there, Gundogan. Now, when I seen that you were letting him go, and again, I don't know the details, what I think I know is there was something to do with the length of contract he was being offered, and he wasn't quite happy with that. Yeah. I think Guardiola wanted to keep him from the outside looking at that. Talk to me about the decision, or the fans' reaction to the decision to let Gundogan go, and just how important, or how big of a loss has he been?
I think we all recognised as fans just how important Ilkay Gundogan is to the club. Now, believe it or not, there's a lot of entitled Manchester City fans out there who have had their fair share of criticising Ilkay Gundogan, which I couldn't believe. There were people out there who said he offered very little to Manchester City. He's an outstanding player, absolutely outstanding. And when you've got a player who offers so much to the team, who's got that leadership quality, who knows how to win and knows how to score them goals, I'm sorry, but Manchester City should be doing a lot more to keep hold of him. Ilkay Gundogan has single-handedly helped Manchester City overcome Aston Villa to win the Premier League when it looked like all hope had been lost back in 2022. And I called for it at the time, and I said Ilkay Gundogan, no matter how long he wants on his contract, for what he's done for Manchester City, should be given that contract. He's taken up doing his coaching badges whilst he was in his final year of his City contract. City have offered him a new deal. They were only willing to give him 12 months. I thought it was a disgrace just to offer him 12 months. If Ilkay Gundogan's earned the right, if he wants 2 years with the option of a third, which is what Barcelona offered him, then Manchester City have to meet him and give in to his demands for what he's achieved at Manchester City. Ilkay Gundogan wanted to stay in Manchester and wanted to stay at Manchester City, but he's just had a child with I'm not sure if it's his girlfriend or his wife. He wants that long-term reassurance for his job. Yeah, he wants that, and Manchester City were only willing to offer him a 12-month rolling contract. And City are normally very good at finding the right moment to let players go, because Ilkay Gundogan's going into his 30s. He started doing his coaching badges. He's getting towards the end of his career, and City are thinking we need to freshen up our midfield. And I don't have too much of a problem with that, but we've not replaced him. We've brought in other central midfielders who can do something a little bit different, but it's going to take a little bit of time for them to work it through. So, I mean, City in the summer, they wanted Declan Rice. They wanted Jude Bellingham. They pulled out of the race to sign both of them players and settled on Mateo Kovacic. Now, I like Kovacic. I think he's a good player, but they settled for me on the cheap option, signing for what, 25, 30 million pounds. For someone to replace someone as good as Ilkay Gundogan, you've got to go out there and either keep him or you've got to go out there and spend big to replace him. And it just leaves a bit of taste in my mouth that I see Jude Bellingham doing things at Real Madrid that's absolutely unbelievable. And I look at Declan Rice at Arsenal and seeing what he's doing for them. And he's making a tremendous difference, because not only is it not strengthened City, it's now strengthened Arsenal for the Premier League and Real Madrid for the Champions League, two of the big competitions that City should be competing for.
From the outside looking in, that's probably my summary of it. When I seen Declan Rice going to Arsenal, why aren't City in for him? When I seen Jude Bellingham going to Real Madrid, why aren't City in for him? When I see you let Ilkay Gundogan go, why is City letting Gundogan go? And I'm like that from the outside looking in.
It's unbelievable, and I think there's a whole manner of reasons why we find ourselves fifth, and we're chasing the rest of the pack for the Premier League. But I do believe that the summer window that we had was not very good, and that is part of the reason why we find ourselves where we are. The motivation of the players as well, because they've been there, done that, won literally everything. I mean, they just showed it at the Club World Cup that we just won. We played Urawa of Japan, won 3-0, kept a clean sheet, played well. We played Fluminense, the Copa Libertadores champions, finished 7th in the Brazilian league, won 4-0. We made short work of it. When they're motivated, they can play very well. It's still there. They're still capable. That's without Erling Haaland, without Jeremy Doku, without Kevin De Bruyne. So I ask, if they're motivated, they can do it. I don't think that motivation's there so far this season.
That's fair. And when I was watching Match of the Day last night and I saw the league table, and I think they made a point of saying it's still in City's hands. The results yesterday helped you. And then if you win the second set of fixtures, that you've all got to play each other again. City win the league. Yeah. You've just touched upon World Club champions. Congratulations for that. So
thank you very much.
It's strange to be saying how it shows the level that you're at, for that to still be the case, for it to be in your hands, world champions, and to still say people are shocked by the performance this season. It shows the level. I do want to get into the game that we're going to play. My personal belief is it's not probably a bad time to play City. I'm sure you might have an opinion.
Time to play us.
Yeah, you might have an opinion on that. But I just want to ask you, one thing that does link us together is charges, allegations. What's happened to us is we've been found guilty. We went into this and we held our hands up. We got, in my opinion, a very, very severe punishment, which our fans have rebelled against. From the City side of things, lots of noise about 115 charges. When you see the severity of a punishment for one charge, does that make you worry?
I'm not worried about the charges. I listen not so much to what the Premier League say. I listen to what Manchester City say. And a lot of these charges are what UEFA went for us as well. When we were found guilty by them, we took them to CAS and we managed to overturn the decision. And then people were just kind of nitpicking around the result by saying City weren't cooperating. I don't know the ins and outs of these charges. I don't know the ins and outs of are we guilty or are we innocent? My stance has always been very crystal clear on this, and that is, if City have done wrongdoing, Manchester City should correctly be punished for that, because it isn't fair. Now, my next question to you, and you'll know this from your charge and your punishment, is it fair? Because they want to make an example, and for me, the Premier League just want to make it look like they've got their all the I's dotted and the T's crossed. They want to look like they've got everything in order, and they don't. They really do not have anything in order. They've charged Manchester City because they want to go out there and they want to make a statement. They think that we are guilty, and I imagine Man City's response will be the same as what we said to UEFA, which is, prove it. What have we done wrong? Where's your evidence that we've done any wrongdoing? Now, they may ask Man City to say, have you got any evidence to suggest that you're innocent? Manchester City are just going to very strategically just say, we're waiting to be shown proof that we've cheated or we've done something wrong. And I'm not entirely convinced the Premier League have evidence of that. The only thing they've got, they're basing it on these leaks that have come out, which could be hacked, altered documents, which can it be used as evidence? Can it not? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know what direction it's going to go in. But Man City's stance from it is they're confident that they're innocent. They're confident that there's no wrongdoing. And whilst that's the stance from the club, I have no reason to doubt the club, because our owners have done wonderful things for the community. They've done wonderful things for Manchester City Football Club. So I'm not going to sit here and bash them and say that they've done anything wrong when I've only ever seen them do good things for Manchester City. And I firmly believe, I'm not sure if you're going to agree with me on this, but I just feel like there's a lot of agendas being ran in the Premier League, what we like to call the Premier League cartel. The likes of Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal, they're the ones that are pulling the strings. They don't like Manchester City challenging and winning things. They don't like Everton wanting to get into a new stadium and make themselves better. So they try and do everything in their power politically to try and belittle us, to put us down, to basically turn the agenda against us, to very much make it an isolated case where you feel like it's you against everyone else. And you end up with that siege mentality. You ended up with that siege mentality. You use that as motivation for this season. You won't get relegated. You'll end up having a very good season because of it. And I really hope Everton continue to push and challenge what the Premier League have said about you, because to me, you've admitted that you've done something wrong, and they've ended up making an example of you, which to me, I didn't think the 10-point deduction, it's very harsh. It wasn't fair. They're not being fair. And it's your right to then say, well, we're not happy about this, so we're going to make a statement about this. And the same will come for Manchester City as well. We won't be the only ones. We're not the only one to challenge the Premier League establishment. Chelsea, they're coming. Tottenham Hotspur, they're also not very well liked. They'll end up being in the same situation as us as well. So it's all about, if things do come your way, it's how you take it in your stride and how you deal with that. We have 115 charges pending over us. We'll see what comes of it. I was very crystal clear on my live stream when they were speaking about this, that if they want to kick us out the league and they want to send us into the non-league, we'll have a great ride. We had a great ride in League One when we were down there and we were getting promotion against Gillingham through the playoffs, doing things the hard way. We had a great time when we was in the old Division 1. They want to kick us out the Premier League, we'll have a great time too. It'll be a brilliant roller coaster. There's highs and lows in football. So I say, bring it on.
It's a brilliant way of looking at it from your perspective, from the Evertonian perspective. Financially, if we went out this league, I dread to think what would happen. We don't have what you have. We don't have the structure. We just don't. And no. the guys who are taking over us now, they've just been approved by the FCA, so that looks like the final hurdle. They're not coming with the greatest reputation. The 777 group, they own multiple clubs, and the multiple club fan bases aren't happy with them. So another day in the life of being an Evertonian. My problem with the severity of the charge, and again, link it to City, and I don't want to put you in a bracket with Liverpool and United, because I do agree with you that there is bias towards certain clubs, but I'll put City in with that a little bit. I don't agree with the severity of the charge, because when the big six in 2021 said that we're going to we're going to branch off and we're going to form this closed shop European Super League with a number of other European clubs. And pardon my French, we don't give a shit what this does to the other 14. We're going as a 6. Your punishment for that was £1.5 million, and that's fine. But the statement that they said after it was was 3 million or something, and they actually said they did that because they didn't want to punish the supporters. The supporters protested against their clubs leaving the Super League. The supporters were the innocent party in this. Look at my club. We've been protesting against that board, trying to out that board, saying we don't trust them, that we don't like this board. They are hurting our football club. The 10-point deduction punishes the fans for me.
It does. We're going back to that inconsistency. The Premier League is so money motivated. It's unbelievable. Them 6 clubs, when they decided that they wanted to pull away and kind of break away from football, should all 6 of them, and including Manchester City in that, because I was so unhappy that our great club decided to associate themselves with the potential destruction of English football. The pyramid, that core pyramid, is what is the glue. It holds football together in this country. It's what makes football so great. So the fact that they were, for money, willing to destroy that was a disgrace. All 6 of them clubs, including City, should have been chucked out of the league there and then as a punishment for it, was my thoughts. They're not going to do that because there's just too much money in the Premier League. Yeah. People are going to watch them big 6 teams because there's views coming in from all around the world. And at the end of the day, you see it with the kickoff tab. They don't care about regular match-going fans. They don't care about people going to the games. They care about people watching. They care about the sponsorship. They care about the money only. And it's sad. It's really sad.
Yeah, you've seen the Evertonian reaction to it. All you have to do is watch, if Sky Sports allow it, you to see the home ends at the United game that we had, where we had the corrupt logos, and I think Sky Sports tried to cut as much of that out. I think because we're on TV again this week against you, I think you're probably going to see a lot of that again. The Premier League anthem, similar to how you guys with the Champions League anthem, it's booed. The Evertonians boo that anthem. There's lots of banners saying corrupt. It's going to be a hot atmosphere. I've said there that I think it's not a bad time to play City. The reason I'm saying that is there's so many things for me. Sometimes I'll just say there's one thing. They've got Haaland out. But I think there's lots of little things. I think injuries have hit you hard at the moment. I think the fact that results went your way yesterday in a strange enough way helps Everton, because this is not as important for you to win as it would have been had you gone 6 points behind or 7 points behind, wherever it could have been. And I also think the fact that you just played on the other side of the Wales helps Everton as well. Would you agree with any of those things?
I'd probably agree with all of them things. Man City have done nothing but party since they've become world champions. They'll have celebrated, they'll have come back from Saudi Arabia. There'll be a bit of jet lag. They're more than likely going to have a couple of recovery days. They'll spend time with the family over Christmas. And then they'll probably have maybe 1, if we're lucky, 2 days of preparation for Everton. So I imagine that City, with that being said, are probably just going to go with near enough the same team that we've been playing at the Club World Cup, which means Jeremy Doku, Erling Haaland aren't going to play in this game. And you're probably going to see City go. I'm not sure if we'll start Alvarez or not. We may go with the extra midfielder and put Phil Foden up top, which is what we went with against Urawa, and it completely dominated that game. I'm talking, there was 76, 77% possession. They were created to no opportunities in the game. And as long as we put one away, we controlled that game right from minute 1 right through to the last minute. And that's something we've really struggled with in the Premier League. That sometimes you just have to find the back of the net once, and you've just got to believe and back yourself that you can keep the clean sheet, that you can see out a 1-0 win. And once we're capable of hitting them 1-0 wins is when I'll sit here and I'll say we're now in a title race and we're ready to challenge right at the very top. Because right now, all I'm concerned about is we're 5th. I don't want to be 5th. 5th maybe means we don't get Champions League football next season. I want to be in the top 4, get that signed and sealed, try and catch Aston Villa up in 3rd. Once we get there, assess again, because we've still got Arsenal to play at the Etihad. We've got to go to Anfield to play Liverpool. We've got to play them again. We're under pressure, but business end of the season, second half of the season, City, for some strange reason, seem to absolutely thrive on a challenge. But we have to make sure we're not in a position that we've got too much to do. So this game against Everton is massive. We drop points here because I think we're looking at, I'm not sure if you'll agree, but I reckon we're looking at about 85 points might win the Premier League, looking at what the average is and where Arsenal are at. So we're currently sitting on 34 points. We need 51 points from our remaining games. We've got 21 games left to play. We need 17 wins. 17 from 21 is a tall order. We are capable of doing it. We've done it before. We've made short work of it before. And I'm not sitting there saying overconfident and arrogant about it. I've seen City do it before. But that's Manchester City at their very best, with their best players available. We don't have Gundogan anymore. De Bruyne is not going to be back till probably the end of January. So these games between then till we get Kevin De Bruyne back are massive. And what we don't want is that gap at the top to be 9, 10, 11 points, because Arsenal, although some City fans may disagree with me on here, I think they are a brilliant team. They'll be very hard to catch if we let them get too far ahead. They fell short last season. They just didn't have what it took in the business end of the season to destroy the machine of Manchester City. But, you give them an extra 3-4 points, becomes very different. And they know that we've got to go to Spurs Stadium and Anfield, which are two grounds we don't normally win at. So it becomes very difficult. These are must-win games, even at this still early stage of the season, as far as I'm concerned.
It pains me to say, but I actually think your main rivals are the red sides of my City. I just think if they get ahead with their manager and their mentality, I think Arsenal, like they done last season, they sort of said, "Shit, now we're here. How do we finish? How do we get over the line?" And they bricked it. I don't think you'll have that problem with them. So you've saved many of my summers in the past few years. I'm begging you to save another one.
I think I don't think it's too early to tell. I think you just got to take things game by game, and at the moment, our focus just has to be trying to get back into the top four, overtake Tottenham, try and catch Aston Villa up, and go from there. Because Liverpool have got they've got no Mo Salah for January because it's at the African Cup of Nations. So we don't know how Liverpool are going to cope without him. They may drop off and 2 or 3 disappointing results all of a sudden, because we've had it, 1 win in 6 games. We've only lost one of them 6 games, but just 1 win in 6 games. We've gone from being top of the Premier League to 5th in 6 weeks. So it does happen. I always say February is a good time to assess and see where we're at. Liverpool have got the advantage of they're not in the Champions League, so at any point, if they think we want to really go for the Premier League, they can just put out a weakened reserve team and make sure they get out of the Europa League and think, we don't want this. We want to focus on the Premier League. Arsenal, they've not got that experience in the Champions League. They make it past FC Porto in the last 16. It becomes a very busy April time for them. Manchester City, we've been there, done that, worn the T-shirt. We've got to the quarterfinal of the Champions League for the last few seasons. We know what it takes. We know how it takes to be playing Real Madrid, for example, on a Tuesday night and then facing Arsenal on a Saturday and then facing Real Madrid again and getting positive results from all them. Mm-hmm. We know what it takes. We've done it. Arsenal haven't. Liverpool have got that advantage that they at any point can just say, we don't want the Europa League. We want to focus on the Premier League. It's all about the results between now and then. And I said, from our point of view, we just can't afford to be too far behind.
Yeah. This game coming up, last time we spoke was in May with the game at Goodison, where City came out winners 3-0 on the day and very, very dominant, probably because of upped gears again if you really wanted to. But I think at that time of the year, you were pulling away from Arsenal and you were in such it felt like a natural steam train where you didn't even have to get into fifth gear. Yeah.
It's so difficult to stop. I remember speaking to an Arsenal fan last season about it and said they were speaking with the Liverpool fans and said that they've never been up against such a well-oiled machine before. Manchester City, once they get going at that business end of the season, if you give us even an ounce to go at for the Premier League, it will be relentless and it becomes so difficult to stop us. You just got to not give us the chance. And whilst we're in not great run of form, it's so important for the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, Aston Villa are up there, so I'm going to put their name out there as well. It's so important that they get these wins. And I think this weekend has been the perfect weekend. We're club world champions, and we've seen Villa, Arsenal and Liverpool drop points. Very happy with that, but it's pointless if we don't beat you guys on Wednesday.
I think it's going to be a different game to what we had in May, which is where I'm trying to go
definitely.
with it. I think
Definitely.
the Everton Football Club, and I say the club as players, manager, and fans that you came up against in May, is a very different football club to what you're going to come up against now. I think we just beat Brighton and we pulled out of the zone, and we knew that we had Wolves and Bournemouth, and we beat or got positive results against Wolves and Bournemouth, we'd stay up, and we sort of went into the City game thinking, okay, well, it's worth a try, but it's not going to kill us. And the atmosphere was quite flat when you went ahead. I think now what's happened to my football club is that siege mentality of it's us versus the world. And I think if you go 1-0 up on, I don't even know what day 27 is going to be, it's on Tuesday. So if you go 1-0 up, I don't think it's as simple as you guys will then coast it and we'll go in our shell. I think Everton are still going to be a threat in that game, and that's what I mean. It's going to be different. Everton have gone behind many times this season. I watched the Tottenham game yesterday. We went 2-0 down, and we should have won the game. And I think City have shown some fragilities in going ahead and then letting teams back in. Do you feel it's going to be a very different Everton to what you played in May?
Yeah, definitely. It's, as you said, it's that siege mentality. It's that motivation. Motivation goes a long way in football. I remember doing the City Stadium tour, and there's a quote written on the wall there that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Yeah.
And that's where Everton are. I think you'll agree that pound for pound, City's squad's got more talent. But if it's not motivated, it's not working, and it's not working hard, then if Everton turn up with that motivation and that never give up attitude, then there's every chance you take something away from this game. And I think the first goal in this game is absolutely massive. I can see if Everton grab the first goal, pressure goes on to City, heads start to drop. And I'm not entirely convinced from what I've seen so far this season that we've got enough about us to turn that around. I really hope I'm wrong with that, but I've just not seen it enough on that consistent basis. And the thing that concerns me most is we are more than capable of taking the lead, but we just keep blowing leads. We just keep conceding goals, silly goals, simple goals. The defensive performances in the Premier League has been very poor from Manchester City, and Everton are going to take confidence from that. I think you'll be looking at City high line. You'll be thinking Dominic Calvert-Lewin, get him onto the ball as quickly as possible, have him running at that shaky high line of Manchester City, see if he can cause some problems, put some good set pieces into the box, test Manchester City, have some shots at Edison. Your crowd's going to be well up for it. Everton have got to be well up for it as well. This, to me, is a very difficult game. I look at Everton, I don't think... you're 16th, aren't you, in the Premier League at the moment?
Yeah, we're 4 points clear with the game in hand.
I don't look at Everton as a relegation team. I look at them as they've been harshly treated by the Premier League. They should have an extra 10 points, which should see you right now be in 10th place.
Yeah.
Which means we're facing a top half team away from home, which means to pick up points and pick up a win, we have to be at our very, very best. Anything below, we drop points.
Yeah, I'm going to get that is going to be the reel, by the way. I was thinking that's going to be the social media reel I'll put out. So you absolutely smashed it. I'll give you my prediction. I'll ask for yours, and then we'll go and get some eggnog. Goodison Park is on fire at the moment. I can see Manchester City with the class that you've got starting the game very, very well. I can see you going in front. I can just see fragilities coming in, the crowd going on fire. I can see Everton equalising, and I'll go with 1-1. What's your prediction?
Yeah. I'm going to go with, I've got two predictions. So my gut instinct is City win this game 2-0. I think Alvarez scores first half and we mop it up later in the second half as you try and come forward. I'm going with a Phil Foden second goal. I think if Everton score first, 2-0 Everton.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm going to put the link to this, to your channel in the description. What we do is we hashtag certain things. So you may find, if someone's in a YouTube hole tonight with the eggnog and the shortbread, that you may get some new followers, and we hope you do. But if they're watching now, it's the JSGC Man City Fan channel. Do you want to tell them what you're about and what you've got coming up?
Yeah, no problem. Got lots of content coming up for you guys to enjoy. I've recently started a couple of new series. So predominantly just Manchester City covered. So I'll cover previews to the games. If I'm at any of the matches, I'll do match vlogs. If not, I'll do some live stream watch-alongs, doing match reactions after the game, giving some of my thoughts, running a couple of new series. So the first one of the new series is I've been doing some Premier League predictions, keeping an eye on what everybody's doing in the Premier League, because it's a very interesting league. So I've been doing lots of predictions on that, where we all just have a little bit of fun. And I've also started doing some recent construction updates for Manchester City as well, as we've got a new arena that's being built next to the Etihad Stadium, and we're going to be expanding the stadium as well. And I'm a little bit of a construction nerd, so I love seeing things being built, including Everton's new stadium that I like to keep up to date with. So I've just been covering a little bit of the basis on what the general thing is going on at the Etihad campus, as we're getting towards expanding the North Stand and increasing the capacity to over 60,000 people.
Yeah, really interesting video that I started watching that, and I've subscribed to the channel, and it's really interesting to see City get even bigger, and you're going to be showing that through your channel as it happens. Yeah, as it happens. So over on Across the Park podcast, we are absolutely done for Christmas now. We finished our studio show last week. We've done the Tottenham preview. We've now done the City preview. We're probably going to do an instant match reaction after the game, and then we're going to have a week or so off, I think. So happy Christmas to everybody. Every Manchester City fan who's watching, we wish you a happy Christmas as well. Please go and like, share, and subscribe to this video, both of our channels. We'll be looking back at the City game ourselves. It's been great for you guys to keep up with us all year. We wish you and your family nothing but a happy Christmas, happy New Year. To you as well, my friend. Thank you for coming on the channel. And I'll just say, I do hope your Christmas has a little dip on the 27th.
Thank you very much. I wanted to thank everybody for tuning in, wishing everybody a wonderful and prosperous Christmas as well. And thank you very much for having me on here.
See you guys soon.